I, 28 female, have a 3-year-old German Shepherd, Lou, the sweetest dog I've ever met. She's very cuddly and loving once she's gotten used to you. However, she was abused as a puppy and has separation anxiety. Edit, we've been working with a professional trainer and she's been making improvements. But leaving her home alone for more than an hour isn't possible. My brother lives 45 minutes away. It's hard to gain her trust, so getting someone to watch her on short notice is nearly impossible. The last time I visited my brother, 39, his wife, 42, stepped on Lou's tail and quite obviously it hurt. She didn't bite or even tried to do so, but she barked quite loudly before running to hide behind me. I asked my sister-in-law whether she was alright and she said she was, so I didn't think anything else of it. After all, she'd known Lou for almost 2 years before the incident. But when my brother invited me to his birthday party the next weekend, he told me to leave Lou at home. When I asked for the reason, he told me sister-in-law thought she was too aggressive to be around the guests. She isn't, but it's their house, their rules, and I want to respect her wishes, so I simply called my usual dog sitter, who told me they weren't available. Anyone else who has previously watched Lou will also be at my brother's party, so I don't have anyone to watch her. I told my brother I could either A. Bring Lou and keep her on the leash at all times, or B. Take Lou with me and take turns with my mom walking her around the neighbourhood so I could be able to stay a bit without his wife having to face my dog. Or C. Come over with Lou in the car to congratulate him and bring over his present but leave shortly afterward, as I don't want her to be alone in the car for more than 15 minutes. He told me he didn't like any of these options because his wife didn't want my aggressive dog on their property, in their driveway, or in their neighbourhood. I apologised and told him I wouldn't be able to come at all if that was the case. He has told me he's disappointed, but especially my sister-in-law has been bombarding me with texts about how I was selfish for putting my dog before my brother and that I was an idiot of a sister to do that to him on his 40th birthday. I've proposed reasonable enough compromises, and because all of them were declined, I don't see what other options I have left except for staying home. Not the idiot. Let me get this straight. Your sister-in-law hurt your dog and he barked. Now she doesn't want him around as he's aggressive? Does she know that dogs bark as communication and not aggression? An aggressive dog would fight, not speak. This is just about your sister-in-law having her way. The dog makes people happy. It's a birthday party, not a court summons. You offered alternatives, but they said no. They shouldn't expect you to attend if they don't like any of the options you gave them. Not wanting the dog in their neighbourhood is a bit over the top. Your sister-in-law has a lot to learn, starting with where to put her feet. I feel like I won't be in the majority here, but you are the idiot. I don't want dogs in my house. They shed, pee and scratch. They're dogs. I also don't want dogs in my yard due to my extensive flowers and vegetable garden, bees and chickens. All my kids have dogs as pets. They don't bring them here when they come to visit. Putting your dog first over your brother is probably very disappointing for him. It will affect your relationship, but it's your choice. I'm assuming you work from home or are independently wealthy and shop exclusively online, as you can never leave your house for more than an hour unless you get a sitter. I agree. Dog culture has gotten out of control. Why do people think they need to bring their dogs everywhere? I have dogs. I don't take them shopping to other people's homes or to any public venues unless they're specifically dog-friendly. You are the idiot for having this dog for at least 2 years and getting to the point where she can't be alone for more than 15 minutes. I've had primarily rescue and abused dogs. I get it. But you're doing this dog no favours by making her so ridiculously reliant on you. What happens if you break your leg or you have an emergency and you can't drag your dog with you? If you and your trainer haven't managed to instill enough confidence in this dog that they can be alone for a couple of hours at home over the course of 2 years, then the trainer is a garbage trainer. You have every right to not go to a party, and your brother has every right to be upset that you're choosing a dog over your brother. But please try to get some perspective here. You're setting this dog up for failure. My sister-in-law named her son Skylar. I was already dating my wife when he was born, and my name is Sky. Just Sky. Sister-in-law apparently hates the name Sky. She made one comment back when we were dating that it was such a shame my parents didn't think about my future enough to give me something more substantial. My wife, then girlfriend, told her that she was being rude and it wasn't her place to comment on my name, and she never did again. Then she had her son and insisted everyone use his full name. He's now a pre-tween and he calls himself Sky and asks other people to call him Sky as well. This started a couple of years ago, and he has increasingly used Sky over Skylar, and now he asks people not to call him Skylar. Sister-in-law hates it. She's tried to tell him that his name is Skylar and not Sky, and that nicknames shouldn't be used everywhere. She said it was confusing when he has an uncle Sky, and he asked me if I minded, and I said no. I had no idea why he asked. LOL. Sister-in-law is upset that he won't use Skylar. She's vented to my wife and their mom about this. Both told her it should have been something she considered when she named him. Sister-in-law approached me a few days ago and told me she's sick and tired of Sky using Sky and not Skylar. She needed me to talk to him and say that I wish I had a more substantial name to fall back on, and that Sky is a girly name and not something that's fun to live with forever. I told her I wouldn't do that since it would be a lie. She told me I had to. I told her I didn't have to do anything. She said it was driving her crazy and I could help. She then said yet again that she hated the name Sky so badly, and I needed to lie or do whatever to convince her son to drop it. This is when I feel I may have gone too far. I told her I won't lie to her son, and I told her she was crazy for naming him something when she hated the most intuitive nickname for it as much as she does. She told me it was not crazy. Skylar is an amazing name and doesn't need shortening. And I'm an idiot for refusing to help speak to her son and calling her crazy. Am I the idiot? You are not the idiot. Sister-in-law apparently hates the name Sky, so why on earth would she name her kid Skylar? It's the same name with an added syllable. Her kid is clearly old enough to know what he wants to be called, but she said it's driving her crazy. Mum, you're already cuckoo banana cream pies. The same thing happened in my family, but with a different name and nickname. They named their son James and always called him James. At 10, he decided he wanted to be called Jimmy. That's fine by everyone except his parents, who threw a fit. They still refuse to call him Jimmy, even though most of the family does now. Don't pick a name if you hate the nickname. Like, what do you expect? Unfortunately, common sense just isn't that common. She can live with the consequences of her actions. Her hating it is probably pushing him to use it more. LOL. I'm going to hazard a guess that sister-in-law needs a hobby. If she's this irksome at this stage, I wonder how she'll manage her son's dating choices later on. Of course, he might not even hang on to the nickname till his mid-teens, so not so sure why it bothers her so much. She has to deal with this. I, 30 male, am an alum of Oklahoma State University. I want to attend the Oklahoma State at Arizona State football game this fall. However, the game is on the same day as my wife's 30th birthday. My wife is very big into birthdays, and this is a big milestone birthday. My mother-in-law has approached me about throwing a party for her and wants it on her birthday, which is the same day as the game. I've told her I may be out of town, which she is appalled at. She asked me if my wife knew, and I told her we had discussed it. I want to go, but she doesn't want me to. I told her we could celebrate together before or after the trip. She wasn't keen on that idea. My best college friend, who went to OSU, lives in Scottsdale and has a house. A few other buddies are planning to go. A few spouses may go, but she wasn't interested when I broached the topic with my wife. She wants me to stay home. She told me she wants to be around her friends and family, not tailgating in a parking lot in Tempe, Arizona. She says she won't stop me from going, but I'll be a huge idiot if I do. This is possibly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, with the caveat that it could become an every-other-year thing. There are rumours about ASU joining the Big 12, which would make us conference rivals and we'd play every year. But I want to go now, as the wife and I have discussed kids in the near future, and this trip would be much easier without a kid in our life. Essentially, I want to go to a game on my wife's birthday. I brought it up, she doesn't want me to go, and said I'd be an idiot if I went. My mother-in-law is planning a party for that day. Am I the idiot for going to the game anyway? Edit. I grew up attending OSU games and haven't gone as much since I met my wife 6 years ago. I grew up doing it with my dad, who passed during college. I gave up my season tickets for her because where we relocated to is at least a 2-hour drive to Stillwater. I wanted to continue making the drive, but she didn't. I loved her and gave up the tickets. I still go to a road and home game every year. Just this year I wanted to go to 2 road games. This is possibly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, with the caveat that it could become an every-other-year thing. So it's not really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity if it could become an every-other-year thing, is it? Do you know what is a once-in-a-lifetime thing? Your wife's 30th birthday. That won't happen every other year. It won't happen ever again. So you are the idiot if you attend the game and miss your wife's birthday. You're skipping out on your wife's birthday to go drink and watch some college football game. I don't know, buddy. You really have to ask. Yes, you absolutely would be the idiot for skipping out on your wife's birthday and party for a football game when she's made her feelings clear. Sort out your priorities. Watching college football games doesn't really qualify as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. OP thinks going to college almost a decade ago is a personality trait. Of course, the fact mother-in-law is throwing a birthday party and not him says it all. Good luck, dude. Don't be surprised if she's celebrating 31 with someone else. My half-sister's mother is my dad's widow. They were married until his death a decade ago, but I was never close to her and had no contact with her in the years since my dad's death, and I only had minimal contact with her in the years before he died after I left their house. Some of the big points of contention were money. Most of the money my parents had, in theory, was my mom's before marriage and was considered a premarital asset which she left entirely to me, in a bank account that only her parents had access to until I turned 18. The money from the marriage was entirely my dad's, and he got the house and stuff in her name, but the money I had was a large sum and sometimes we struggled and I didn't want it used. I also didn't want to use that money to help cover the cost when my dad's wife had breast cancer to pay for treatment so they'd have no debt. Another thing was she hated that I called her by her first name, never Mom, never Mama or some form of Mom nickname. This was part of what made Dad and I so estranged as well. He was fully on board with me giving her a Mom nickname. There was a lot of crap too when my half-sister was born and I had more extended family, because my mom came from a close family and my dad didn't and neither did his wife. I was in low contact for about 5 years before my dad died, no contact with his wife after. My half-sister and I have always had a strained enough relationship. She didn't like my lack of attachment to her mom and was on the team. Give my mom a Mom nickname because she's your mom now too. So she was telling me recently that her mom is sick and needs care, and it's expensive care. She felt we should split the cost and I owed her mom that much and I owed her as a sister. I told her I won't be splitting the cost and I wasn't responsible for helping her with her mother's care, that she is her mother's child, her only child, and that means it's on her. She told me I was so cold to the woman who was my mother for 10 years of my childhood. She also told me I could do it for her, as her sister, as a sister who was never the best and could make up for some of that now. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Keep your money. If your dad got the marital home after your mum passed, I presume it went to your stepmom after your dad died. She can sell it if she needs to pay medical bills. You can bet the house has been left to her only daughter, so look after your interests in this. She just wants your money. She doesn't care about you. You were deservedly cold to this person who stole the money your late mother left for you that should have been invested in your future. You don't owe them anything. Their BS has cost you enough. She got the house and your dad's money. If that's not enough, their financial planning is to blame, not you. For background, my husband Kyle and I have been married for 3 years and I'm 5 months pregnant with our first child. He and I are 30 and 29 respectively. Following a head injury he received from a car accident last year, Kyle has had epilepsy. He probably has a seizure once every 3 months, even with medication. Yesterday, after I got home from work, I heard Kyle fall in the bathroom and when I went to check on him, he was seizing. Kyle was working from home when this happened and his work team had a big project deadline so he'd been swamped with work. Kyle was feeling super woozy after the seizure, so we decided he needed to take it easy for the rest of the day. At one point, he asked me to get his glasses from his office, which I did. While getting his glasses, I noticed that he had 50+ new messages from various supervisors and co-workers. I didn't read any of them, but when I noticed how many messages were popping there were, I messaged my cousin, one of his bosses, privately and said that while he is fine now, Kyle just had a seizure. He will probably not be available for the rest of the day. My cousin was understanding and said not to worry about it. When I told Kyle that I messaged my cousin, he was upset with me because he didn't think it was okay for me to message them without telling him first. He yelled at me for crossing a boundary, something he later apologized for. His thinking is that it wasn't my place to message his supervisor because he never told me that it was something I could do for him. I didn't want his co-workers to think that he just went MIA for no reason or that something was seriously wrong with him, but I can see how this might have been overbearing. I apologised to Kyle already for the sake of making peace, and I won't reach out to anyone on his behalf again. I honestly want to know if I was in the wrong here, because I didn't have any bad intentions and I feel like he overreacted. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Yes, you should have asked him first if that was something he wanted you to do for him. He may not have been comfortable sharing certain details with your cousin, or just wanted to contact them about it on his own terms. Medical issues are very personal, so taking this upon yourself without permission wasn't your place. There could also very well be an added layer of discomfort here for him due to his boss being family. Although you didn't mean to do anything inappropriate, it's about impact over intent. Perhaps another approach would be, "Hey, I noticed you're getting a lot of chat messages. Would it be okay to let my cousin know what's happening? People at work may or may not know what's going on, and they may not want to provide the level of information you may have provided. Do you realize that people who just had a seizure are typically not lucid for some time after? Being upset after a seizure is a sign that lucidity hasn't returned. After a seizure, we're much more prone to being upset about things without making any rational emotional connections to what's happening. The brain is still trying to sort itself out after the electrical storm, and it makes lots of fleeting, mistaken connections. OP, you're not the idiot. I hope that if something similar happened to me, my husband would speak with my supervisor. They'd be worried sick if I disappeared in the middle of the day. I don't understand the people saying you're the idiot when you're trying to ensure that no one at your husband's job is left high and dry by his sudden disappearance. He wasn't in a position to notify his employers himself, for goodness sake. But how do you guys have a plan now for the future? Should it happen again? Also, hope he's doing better.